Very good news on the China front. Australia at times, it felt like, was a little bit out there alone, but we really aren't that alone when it comes to demanding an inquiry into something that has killed 300,000 people, has cost $6 trillion and has cost hundreds of millions of people their jobs. Not just the United States, but also heaps of other countries have decided to join us in demanding that inquiry. Not asking that Xi Jinping or any member of the Communist Party be led away in chains, not suggesting that there should be compensation paid to the rest of the world, just simply we want to know what happened, what went wrong. Now, if the Chinese could somehow prove that nothing went wrong, well then maybe there's a different conversation, but to prove that, there's got to be independent eyes that get involved. Well, now we learned tonight that 62 separate nations are supporting Australia in our call for this inquiry. 62 separate nations that have decided to list their support along with us. Those 62 nations are Albania, Australia, Bangladesh, Belarus, Bhutan, Botswana, Brazil, Canada, Chile, Colombia, El Salvador, Guatemala, Iceland, India, Indonesia, Japan, Mexico, Monaco, Montenegro, Mozambique, New Zealand, North Macedonia, Norway, Paraguay, Peru, South Korea, Moldavia, the Russian Federation, San Marino, Sierra Leone, South Korea, Turkey, Ukraine, the United Kingdom and Zambia. Now, some of those countries are absolute lightweights and some of those are the absolute heavyweights. But of course, it's only Australia that is going to be held up as the example to be sent to the rest of the world about how China can ruin our economy and, by extension, our country for dare displeasing them. The displeasure, of course, is simply asking them to tell us what happened. There are more countries that we can add to this list too, because the European Union and all of its member states have signed up to this idea as well. We're talking about France, we're talking about Germany, we're talking about Italy, we're talking about Greece, yet it will only be Australia that will be held up as the example to all of these countries. And now it means that there is a lot more people who have our back, a lot more people who we are now in lockstep with. We are not out on our own. So forget the nonsense which is being sprouted by much of the lefty media and lefty establishment here in Australia and their preferred governmental system back in Beijing. The Western world wants an inquiry because the entire world, from Africa to Asia, the Americas, Europe and all points in between, have been deeply ravaged by this. If it was a terrorist attack, we would probably have a war, but it's not a terrorist attack. It's something that got out of control. From where and how is the question worth asking? It's the question every reasonable nation wants to ask. And even unreasonable nations like Russia want to know what's going on.